So, I mean, it seems
I'm
like
just trying to say. What that's the point.
see,
What are you
it's,
supposed to do?
it's apparently, again, you said forgiveness, and I said, okay. So we started discussing forgiveness. Now you're asking, what is it that we're supposed to do? So do you still want the forgiveness? Do you still want to go on? Let's go on about the forgiveness.
Okay, all right.
Because we can't just, understand without dwelling on the actual foundation.
All
So
right.
now you explain that this man has been uh, uh, given respite. Let's say that he's been given respite because the rest of the people, or the rest of those who know, think that if he is pointed out, then everybody is going to say the rest of them are like him. This is the reason, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So
That's just me talking.
that's okay. All right. So basically, let's say, so I'm trying to think even deeper. So I am one of those who decided to go with this type and this measure of forgiveness. And it's because, again, this individual is on my, my show, my channel, my site, whatever. And, I'm afraid that, along with everybody else, if this person is pointed out to be a fraud, if this person is pointed out to be a liar, a deceiver, if this person is pointed out to be all of those things, then hey, tomorrow it may be one of us. And then I wouldn't want any of us else, anybody else to be pointed out. So I'm going to keep quiet. In fact, next time I'm going to have him, when it's time for me to get married again, when it's time for me to really tie the knot, right? I'll have him marry me again. And then, everybody can see that, he's actually he's really a good guy, no matter what you've been hearing about him. So we always have good guys around here, right? This is, so far, I'm thinking along the right line where, our organization is really important. So, if one of us, is exposed for their wrongdoing, then that's going to look bad on all of us. So we're going to keep it all like real tight knit, we're going to keep it quiet. Nothing like this is ever going to happen again. We're just going to forget about it somehow and move on. So whenever we have any other type of functions and events, we still try to make sure that this individual shows his face. If he can make it, that'll be really good. More people, right?
He really has been showing up for stuff. He ain't been on the show since. So I guess he kind of like don't want to be able to be, I don't know what he's doing, but he hasn't been on the show in a long time. I don't even think he's coming back on the show for a while. I don't know.
So first of all, I want to go a little bit about the show situation. We need to work on, or whoever, show the scholars of Quran, they cite this word specifically, directly, to be a shirk form, contradicting is ayah number 4, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, particularly show. That's number 1. Number 2, if this is the reason why, so far everything that I said, everything that I mentioned to you, if this is the only reason why, then that itself is shirk. That itself is shirk. It's only for worldly gain. Everything that I just mentioned, when I thought about that, about being in that entity, in that surrounding, why I would give this individual a pass, it is based on shirk ideology. So if you're going to say that in itself, that means that there is no contemplation about that in which is righteous, that in which is only given by the reward of Jalla Jalaluhu. This other thing, it makes absolutely... See, there are a number of issues, and people, I am in my late 40s. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the Quran when I was 3 years old. My mother said she saw then it would be what it is today, and she's not even living today. Okay? So when people decide that they're going to try and create other than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, obviously the one who knows what Allah ta'ala says, the entire statement, yes, they're not going to be able to, to reason very well. with how this ideology, I don't even know what to call it at this point. I don't understand. They don't want to have accountability, responsibility, but yet they want to make sure, that they are calling back to fitra and completely exposing faults of just selected like you select, like the guy who was having dreams. That was one worthy of having and contradicting, denouncing. But otherwise, they're sticking with these models at these centers. They make sure they have the events there, and they go on with this, this way. This, in fact, the president of ICVA, when he was treasurer 3 years ago, this was his rationale back then. And I said to him, this is unacceptable, my friend. So this is where we will depart. This is it's unacceptable. He said, and again, what he said was, if you expose our bad deeds, then people are going to know that we are bad. Then stop being bad. Stop doing bad. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
He said what they were doing.
Look.
Bad deeds.
Yes. That's the whole point.
That's what you do. Well, if you expose
Listen.
somebody's bad
Listen.
deeds, they're going to think you bad.
Listen. The problem is when a person is accustomed to sin. They're not immune, or for lack of better terms, they're persistent in sinning. They have become passionate in the way of sinning. So much so that they have selected what they like of the Quran, or what they understand the Quran to be. They don't really know Quran. Just like the Bible today, it is actually, again, it is translation of an interpretation from anonymous authors based on what they thought the revelations meant. Revelations with an S, because you have the Psalms, the Torah, and the Injil. Okay?
Yeah, collection of books.
Muslimin, majority, decide to follow what these folks are doing. That's why Allah Ta'ala clearly states in Surah Fatiha, they are misguided and cursed. You say you have the Quran just as they claim they have what it is that they have, and you are following the example of theirs instead of the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's progeny. What do you think the outcome is supposed to be at the end of the day? Although you know you are following fabricated models, falsehood. You have brother, my really respected brother Jafar, and Jazahullahu khairan, for saying and going into certain details on the channel. I'm not going to call it a show, but he went into certain details. He definitely, must realize when history is worthy of, no, I will say not just any history. I'll take that back. Any seerah, the history of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I mean, you want to take that one with attentive detail. When you say that people can pick any position that they like to pick in Islam, this is your assertion. People can pick any, men do not have to go to the battlefield. They can decide what they want to do. And you really base that on Hassan ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu, and the situation and the predicament at the time. Either you did not know who he was, or you did not know the situation at the time. So when you are given, the authentic means, I mean, the best that I can say, study the seerah authentically. You know, people are just picking up however they like chain of narratives or however Ibn Kathir, you know, without proper, you know, supervision. And I think this is very dangerous. Again, a lot of people are leaving TMOA, and what are they doing? They're becoming non-Muslim anyway. You understand? Because they're running into these from one blind city to another blind city. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa salamu alayhi. You know, and I just feel as if there's no, yes, so good question. What should they do or what should be done? You understand? That's a very important.
In your opinion.
Okay, well, I am not entitled to an opinion, my personal opinion, that I'm not entitled to. But I tell you what I am entitled to. I am entitled to looking into the matter and concluding with that in which is righteous and pursuing with absolute certainty. That I will, you know, I will sign up for. Because to just, I mean, that's what everybody else does. So many other, everybody who starts off or who wants to, you know, eventually get a favor back, that's what they do. So later on, you know, when they get into trouble, they say, remember, no snitch, no snitch. No, that's, you know, we understand all that corruption. You know, we were in the Gambia in 1994, and we were there when the coup took place, and the chief of staff, you know, is saying, you understand, and talking in discussing the corruption that has been transpiring back in 1994. As we were returning from our Quranic mission. So, you know, and it's all Quranic, it's all a Quranic prophecy here. There's nothing that is Mr. Jalla Jalaluhu, neither did he, you know, miss any information in delivering it to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, our beloved sibling. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Inshallah, but we're going to organize, you know, we have to organize something, you know, definitely. Because like I said, I called around. If I get anything about what's going on in Richmond, you know, for Palestine, we'll let you know. But for us, we've definitely dispatched what we could out in that area. So we'll be in touch though, inshallah.
All right.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.